So my story began on March 29th, 1981. I claimed victory over being a victim of rape. That no longer defines who I am. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I currently struggle with grief, people-pleasing, and being an adult child of family dysfunction. These struggles also don't define me. I am chosen, I am forgiven, I am brand new. I am a child of God, and my name is Daphne. I'm the second oldest of 6 kids. I am a daughter, granddaughter, sister, aunt, wife, mother, grandmother, and friend. I came from a broken home where alcohol, parties, drugs, and fighting was normal. My parents were never home often, and if they were, the night would normally end with cop cars and ambulance. My siblings and I could do pretty much anything we wanted. No rules, no consequences, no parental guidance. So I spent my days going to school, ROTC, band, choir, theater, sports, or at home taking care of my younger siblings. I was the one that made sure that everything was taken care of when my mom was working or had other things to do. I had to grow up very fast, and I learned to only depend on myself. I tried my best to walk a straight path, stay out of trouble, take care of my siblings, and keep everyone happy the best way I could. I didn't have a relationship with God. I just knew about him and believed in him. I thought that was enough. Everything changed on January 17th, 1996, when I was 14 years old. That's when my grandma passed away. I felt cheated. She was taken from me, and I grew very angry with God and eventually started to hate him. My oldest brother was diagnosed with cancer shortly after my grandma died. I was sad that he was sick and stuck in the hospital, angry that I had to take care of my younger siblings, but grateful that my mom had turned her life around. She was still never home often, but I learned to live with it because she was by my brother's side. Having my life revolve around caring for my siblings and going to and from school, losing my grandma, my brother getting cancer, and all before I was 16. I became a menace. I didn't listen to anyone. I would lie and steal and do anything I could to get attention. I would become obsessed with anyone who would show me any attention. I met a guy, we started dating, and being 15, I thought I was in love. In November of 1997 at 16, I was raped and beaten by my then boyfriend and his friends. After that night, isolation became my way of coping. I refused to leave the house except to go to school, which I only did because my mom made me go. I found out in March of 1998 on my 17th birthday that I was pregnant. I had no idea what to do. Thing is, I had been so depressed that no one noticed any changes, not even myself. I was already 5 months along. Exactly 2 months to the day, after many complications and doctors fearing that neither of us would survive, I delivered my baby girl. Shortly after I had my daughter, my rapist was in jail, could never have contact with me or my daughter, and I was starting to feel safe again. I met new people, started lifelong friendships, and I met a guy. We got really serious really fast. We soon found out we were pregnant and we got married. Life was finally going good and nothing could ruin it. I had been so blinded by love that I missed all the signs that he was having affairs. I became depressed again, felt as if I was no good. Started to wonder what was wrong with me. We separated, and I met another man I thought would be my forever. Well, again, I was wrong. My depression was getting worse. I became angry, and at times I was the abuser. I won't make excuses, but I always had something inside of me that told me if I didn't act first, then I would be the one that was hurt again. One night my mom invited me out to cheer me up. I came around the corner to find a guy that I had met through my mom years earlier. I have been happily married to that man for 18 years now. I am so blessed with the life that we have built. We moved a lot over the next 3 years and then found ourselves in Missouri. My daughters started attending church with their new friends. I would stay home. I wanted nothing to do with God or a church. My husband's cousin asked if I would like to join her at church many times, and I always declined. I finally decided to go just so that she'd stop asking me. It was the first time I had gone to church since my grandma had passed away in 1996. Nearly 11 years later, here I was walking through the doors of a church. I could feel the anxiety creeping in. I kept telling myself that I could do this one time and done. Pastor Brian started preaching that night, and his sermon was about healing. He looked me right in the eye and said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and it will direct your path." Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. This has been my life verse since that day. After putting my kids to bed that night, I dug for 3 hours trying to find my Bible that I had been given as a child, the Bible that I still use to this day. I opened it and started reading that verse over and over again. I then, for the first time in 11 years, felt what I can only describe as a weight being lifted off of my shoulders. I knew then that it was God. He was breaking up the hurt, fear, and pain that I had lived with the past 11 years. I started to pray and ask God to come into my life and to make me whole again. I cried and prayed and cried some more. We were regulars at Meadow Heights for nearly a year before having to return to Arizona. Over a year passed before we found ourselves moving to this teeny tiny little town called Cortez. Once in Cortez, we church hopped for over a year and then found ourselves at Rock Springs. Walking through the doors the first time, I was greeted by loving smiles, hugs, and handshakes. Everyone welcomed me with open arms. And David walked up on stage. And I really felt that every word he was saying was directed right at me. It's like he knew my deepest, darkest secrets. And when we left Rock Springs that day, the word home slipped from my lips. I knew it was God telling me that I was home. This is where I had been searching for. I had a renewed relationship with Jesus, and I would never let it slip away again. My family and I have been attending Rock Springs for over 10 years now. I first came to Celebrate Recovery as a babysitter. I wanted nothing to do with CR. I was just there to hang out with the kids. I was fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not one of those people. Well, God wasn't having that. He made a way for me to join a step study, and I was out of excuses on why I couldn't. In 2019, I thought I had it all. I was leading in the Rock Springs Kids, in leadership with Celebrate Recovery, the ministry leader for Operation Christmas Child, and I was serving in any capacity that I was needed. I was putting more hours in the church than I was at home. However, I didn't feel right. A friend of mine that I admired told me that I needed to take a break from serving. Truly, I thought she was crazy. There was no way I could take a break. I had so much to do that day to get prepared for the next week. I came to realize that she was right. Maybe not that day, but it did become clear. I was upset, angry, and I felt betrayed by my friends at the time. I called my best friends to talk me through it. They were able to remind me to focus on God. 12 days went by, and I didn't attend church or CR or any activity. I also didn't spend any time with God. I was so wrapped up in my own anger. On day 13, I woke up knowing that I had to get right with God again, or the anger was going to eat me alive. I opened my Bible to no particular page, and it was Ezekiel 4. I started reading, and getting to verse 6, it said, "Turn over and lie on your right side for 40 days. I thought that was weird. Then I stood my Bible up on its spine and let it fall open. Many times, and these are the verses that appeared. Genesis 7, the rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. Exodus 24, he remained in the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Acts 13, 40 years of wandering. 1 Kings 19, travel 40 days and 40 nights to Mount Sinai. My mind was clear and I was listening, and God was talking to me. I needed 40 days. 40 days of what? I had no clue. I did know that I had to obey. So I started the next day as day 1. I would spend time in the Word with God daily. My schedule was completely empty. I had nothing to do. So I spent a lot of time with God and focusing on what He wanted for me to learn. After 40 days of focus and 54 days away from Rock Springs, I returned to church that Sunday. I knew what was wrong with me the whole time. I just didn't want to listen to anybody. I was burnt out. I'd been tired and slowly was burning myself out. I had been at a point where I felt I didn't do it. If I didn't do it, then no one else would or could. I had been wearing myself out slowly and had come to a breaking point. Once returning to church, I realized that everything was still standing and the jobs were being done. It gave me peace knowing that my kids were all taken care of also. I have learned since then that it's okay to be tired and take time off. It's also okay to set boundaries with my time and allow myself the self-care that I need to be healthy. And it is okay to say no to serving. Even though I was upset, it was so needed. And I'm truly grateful for those friends who stepped up when I didn't know something was wrong. Five years ago, my mom had a stroke. So communication with her was hard. I would normally have to be on video chat for my sister to tell me what she was saying. At that time, I thought I grieved my mom, or what used to be my mom. She was not the same to me anymore. On June 4th, 2022, my mom passed away. After medical complications due to a car accident. I am currently still struggling with my grief of losing my mom. I figured it would only be a while and I would get over it. I have learned that there is no getting over the loss of my mom or moving on from grief. I have just learned to live with it daily. I received so much love and encouragement from my CR and Rock Springs family. I wanted to share 2 pieces of scripture that were shared with me and hope that it will encourage any of you that are living with grief as much as they helped me. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. Isaiah 41:10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my righteous right hand. During these past 195 days, I have used the tools from CR and clung to my sponsor and my accountability team for support. God put the right people in the right place at the right time that I was going to need them to help me through the toughest time of my life. I know that my mom is in the loving arms of Jesus, and that's what helps me sleep at night, even though it hurts to not have her here on earth with me. Since the accident, my siblings, family, and I have been able to work through our issues, and we are so much closer now and are able to share our grief and recall the amazing memories we have with our mom, even if it still hurts. Since starting CR, I have completed the Journey Begins 3 times, and the journey continues twice. The tools that I have learned from all my step studies are carried with me daily. Though I might stray, I know which paths to take to walk the journey God has laid out for me. Since coming to Celebrate Recovery, I have found my new family. I have found the place where I am meant to be, and a forever family that loves me for me, even with all my hurts, hang-ups, and habits that I'm pretty sure I still don't have. I love you, my forever family, and thank you for always supporting me through this mess that we call life. The hardest step through CR for me was forgiveness. I never thought that I would move past being raped or being able to forgive those involved. But God has helped me to do that. God has helped me release my fear of people and has opened me up to help those who have gone through something similar. CR has rewritten step 4 for those of us who have been sexually or physically abused. It says, we may be searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, realizing all wrongs can be forgiven. Renounce the lie that the abuse was our fault. Reading that in my very first step study helped me realize that it wasn't my fault that certain things happened to me. I had no part and no responsibility for the cause of the resentment. My job is to forgive. God will handle the rest and sort it out. My main goal in life now is to make sure every child in the world knows that Jesus is the Savior and the Forgiver, and that He loves them no matter what they have done or will do. That's why I serve year-round with Operation Christmas Child and work with your children in Celebration Place every week. I am being the hands and feet of Jesus to break the cycle and break the sin. the chains of sin. To the newcomer, I am so glad that you are here to join us tonight. Keep coming back. You just might find that you love it as much as the rest of us. You just gained yourself a very, very large family that will be there for you, to listen to you, to hug you, to guide you, and sometimes be all up in your business, but will love you no matter what you have done or will do. We are here to support you and just want to help you find healing and a forever family with God. Thank you for letting me share.